men don't get to talk through what they're going through. If I had a difference this morning with my wife, by evening, my wife will have talked to 2 or 3 other women about it, and she would have laughed about it. Most likely, I'll not have talked to anybody about it in the evening. That's why all over the world, women outlive men, because women get to deal with their problems through conversations. Men process by withdrawing. And if we don't create a safe place for men to come together and talk through their challenges, then we're going to have disastrous results of mental health and stress and things like that. The last few years, as we have done the Man Enough program, and some men sitting here have done it, I've never seen as many men break down and cry and say, the things I've carried over the years I've never told anyone. But once they feel safe, they feel they can face their demons and deal with them instead of unleashing them on other innocent people. What about significance? Men need to be challenged not to live for success, but for significance, for something bigger than money, which is where environmental sustainability comes from. When I challenged my boy and said, men don't just live to make money, they impact their society. He came up with a project to plant 100,000 trees in Makueni. That's significance, to do something that touches society. Men need to be invited to something bigger than them. Real men. Whenever we talk about redefining manhood, this is a very quick definition I would give you. That we have trained all the men who have gone through Man Enough, the 20,000 or so. And we say a real man does these things. Number 1, takes initiative. In other words, men don't just sit back. We take initiative and deal with the problems in the society. We become proactive. Women expect it from men. Men expect it from themselves. We want to take initiative and deal with environmental problems in our nation and not just complain about it. Men, number 2, live rest of the society. I love this definition of leadership. Fathers who protect home and the community. What if we had fathers who knew that they are providers to the needs of a community, and knew that if we're going to provide for the community, agriculture should do well, and agriculture will not do well if environment is not preserved? What if we had fathers who gave the necessary skills to the next generation, including education, to make sure they provide for themselves in the future? What if we had fathers who are like priests, teaching values of community, environmental sustainability, of taking care of what we raise, of taking care of water and not polluting it, values of character and values of environment, priests who are teachers of values? Over the years, fathers have always and elders have always been guardians of values. What if we had that? What if we had fathers who are prophets calling out their daughters to be great in the society and their sons as well, who encourage the community to preserve itself and warned of the dangers of misdoing, both in character and environment? I believe we need to get the men to be these kind of fathers, engaged and doing their role. But how do we get the men? Bringing us to a close. How do we get the men really engaged? I've been asked this question a lot. Why is it men sometimes sit in the sidelines and watch things happen? I believe this is a bit of psychology of men that we need to understand to get them involved. Number one, I've come to realize men get involved when they feel needed. When my wife goes around and fixes the tap and fixes everything, then I'm likely to sit back and watch Man U versus Arsenal. But when she tells me there's a sink here that needs to be fixed, and we are relying on you, then I feel important and I fix it. Men love to be needed, allowed to participate, given a chance, shown the need, and invited to a need. Number two, men love it when it's personal, when it's not general. I'm a preacher, and I've come to realize when I preach generally, every woman in the congregation takes it personally. But every man thinks I'm talking about the other man. So when I want to talk to men, I tell them, man, this is for you. And now he listens. Make it personal. Number three, we're going to get the men. We need to have clear goals of environmental sustainability. We need to come together like what I gave my son. I said, what if you planted so many trees? Don't you think you'd be a champion? And right now, he's at a point of being appointed to be an ambassador for environment in Makueni. But he had a goal. I want to do this. And when men see a goal, because we think bottom line, they go for it. What if we had some goals that we invited men to in our places and challenged them to meet those goals, to be champions of family, but also environment? Clear goals. But also men like to ask, why are we doing this? So we give their explanation why this is important. And giving them a challenge. Giving them a challenge. Men love to be challenged. And they use it in the military. The military, they tell the men, you can't do this. This is too hard. The more you tell a man they cannot do it, the more they want to do it. And they will die trying. Men love to be given a challenge. And I want to give the men who are here today, would we challenge ourselves not only to enjoy what others, Wangari Maathai and others, made of this country? What if we challenge ourselves to be the next environmentalists as men who made this country better than we found it? What if we gave ourselves a goal and a challenge? And of course, what if we made it competitive? I taught my son when he said he wants to plant those trees. I said, all right, for every 2 trees you plant, I will plant 5. Let's make it a competition. And now he's happy about it, and I'm happy about it. Men love competition. What do we need to do? I need to give room for just 1 or 2 questions. What do we need to do? We need to train the men and have these conversations in the mosques and in the churches and in barazas about environmental stewardship, and bring it to the feet of the men and ask the men, we're looking to you to lead us in this. As men in the family, we need to teach our kids about environmental stewardship and involve them. We need to involve the men and the boys in the projects out there that are happening, especially on environmental sustainability. But bring them in and let them get involved and let them go and dig holes and plant trees and water those trees. We need to challenge the men to start at home. I've challenged myself that in the next 2 years, with the men in our homestead, we're going to make sure our 3 plots that we own are going to have at least 20% forest cover. I may not fix the whole nation, but I can fix the plot that I own to have enough trees in Makueni. What if we started at home and made an example right there? What if we engaged some of the men who are respected around the country to become champions, to sing about it, talk about it in the media, and begin to say real men lead in environmental sustainability and in loving their family? How could I talk about environment without quoting the late Wangari Maathai? She said, you cannot protect the environment unless you empower people. You inform them and you help them understand that these resources are their own and that they must protect them. As men, as we begin to realize these are our resources, this is our country, these are our counties, these are the places God has given us, and we will be empowered to stand and make those places better. Some action points. Intentional fathers being called out. If we could engage the fathers, and you may be hearing it from next month, but we are working with different partners, and we are believing from next month, in 3 years, to train 1 million fathers around the country to do the 5 things that we talked about: to be present, to protect, to participate, because our as I invite 1 or 2 comments or questions, my desire is that the full force of the men in this country would rise up, and we will rise up as honorable men and lead in defending and building the family, but also in environmental sustainability. And I pray that all of us will go back and spread the word as we invite the men to be engaged. Let me invite a few comments and questions before I sit. If you have a comment, or a question, I'd love, there's a young man there who is ready to speak, but let's start with the Reverend, and then we go back to the young man.
Thank you. That was a powerful talk.
Thank you.
But I would want to raise a question. Where did these men go wrong? At what point did the rain begin to rain on men